Hello everyone, this is Doris. I am back with week 2 of the Winter Junk Journal Challenge, which is hosted by Kim at CreativeCrafticality here on YouTube, as well as Emilee at EmileesPaperCaper. There's a 4-week series that we're doing the month of January. Week 1 was unboxing the supplies or just showing the ideas that we had to create our journal with. Week 2 is the one that I'm on right now, is construction of the journal, meaning the cover and putting the signatures together. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is open up the paper bag some. Okay, so I've opened up the bottom, and the next thing I'm going to do is just trim off all of this rough edge. Now next I'm going to remove the handles. And it's okay if it's a little bit ripped. We're going to cover that all up. All right, so open this up. And now I kind of got to decide how big I want it from here. My initial thought is to fold it over and also to have maybe a flap like this to close the journal. But I do not want it to be this tall, so I'm going to go ahead and that edge where I had cut the bottom, figure out the length that I want the journal, probably around 9 inches. And so let's go ahead and do that. Now it's a little too long for my paper trimmer, so I'm just going to fold it in half, and I should be able to cut it that way. All right, that's pretty good. Okay, now I have my basic shape. Now it's a matter of how do I want to decorate. I've decided to use the fabric that I showed from the dollar store in yesterday's video, and I've already went ahead and cut it down into like 3x3 size squares. So I just need to place them on here the way I want and tack them down a little bit. And I like the idea of using the glue stick so that if I decide to change my positioning a bit, it's not gonna ruin the fabric or the bag. Okay, now that I've got it all tacked down with the glue stick, I'm gonna flip it over and trim off the edge all the way around. Okay, we have it all tacked down and all the edges are trimmed off. So let's flip it back to get an idea of how it could look. So I didn't quite plan the sizing perfect, but that's okay because I'm going to be stitching down around all the squares, and so that should tack down all of those loose edges that I have. Okay, so let me take it to my sewing machine and get it all sewn down, and let's see how it looks from there. Okay, I've taken my cover to the sewing machine and sewed down all of the fabric squares here, as well as adding a little bit of lace bits around. And then while I was at it, I went ahead and took care of the inside of the journal cover, and I added this paper bag that I got, it's from Trader Joe's. I'd gotten when I went with a friend before Christmas. And I just tacked it down underneath with a little bit of a glue stick just to temporarily hold it, and then I stitched around that again as well. Then for the rest of the cover, I will be adding this wood plaque on here, but I'm going to put that on at the very end because I don't want it banging around when I'm trying to sew in the signature. And I'll be adding this little piece here. And then initially I was going to put an eyelet in here and have like a seam binding closure go around and tie it on the front. But then I realized the word snow would have been covered up, so I had to come up with a plan B. So I looked through some YouTube videos and I discovered from Wendy's Journal Adventure, I will list her below the video, and I decided to follow her button closure tutorial. Now in her video, she did make her own paper buttons, which is really cool, and she put her own like 2 little eyelets in there for a faux button. But in this case, for me, I'm just using a regular 2-hole button. And we just kind of hold it on here like this. This cording I have is thin, so I have to be careful because it does want to get kind of tied up. Just hold it on. We're gonna hook it like this. There we go. And right now that's a good fit. And of course I don't have the signature in there yet, so I may have to do a little adjusting. But I think this is gonna be a good closure for my journal. And before I leave, let me go ahead and just show you some papers real quick that I'm gonna use for the signature for the journal. I have this adorable scrapbook paper I got from Stampin' Up! A couple years ago. So that's gonna be the cover of my signature. And then it's gonna be kind of a home, kind of whimsical winter journal. And you'll notice that with the cookbook, and in this case, some stitchery pages that I've included. Cookbook page, a sewing book page, some scrapbook paper. I have a pocket here, music manuscript, more stitchery. So you can see the idea I have here. And this isn't from an Ideals magazine. And I'm going to glue it on here and make a pocket. And it's going to be stitched onto some fine graph paper. This came from a garage sale. A lady was getting rid of a lot of her quilting supplies, and she was saying how she used the paper to create her designs. Another of the Stampin' Up! Scrapbook papers. And a different paper, scrapbook paper. This one I went ahead and did a little bit of watercolor splattering on. This is an end paper from a sewing book. And then for the center, I'm thinking this latch hook rug page, I'm gonna turn it into a pocket. So I'm gonna stitch it in there, and then I will glue up the sides and have my pocket. So that's my signature at the moment. When I come back, I will have it all sewn in, and we'll be working on a few embellishments for the journal. I've chosen not to video me putting together the signature. There are a lot of experienced crafters out there who can do a very efficient job, and so I'm leaving it up to them. That's just not something I'm totally confident in doing on video. So let's just leave it at that. Okay, so we'll be back with week 3 of embellishing, and I will have this all sewn into my journal. Be sure and check out the hashtag WinterJJ Challenge. And again, this is hosted by Kim at CreativeCrafticality and Emilee at EmileesPaperCaper right here on YouTube. Hope all of you are having a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.